Hello ladies and gentlemen, once again this is Jeremy Smith. I know guys it's been just a little while since I've made any new videos, but we are now in 2016, so what better time than to start making some new videos and talk about some of the new things that are coming out. And I have a lot of things that I planned for 2016, but I figured we'd go ahead and start with things very simple. We are going to be talking today about all the new cameras that have been announced. My goodness, haven't made any videos in a while, but I haven't been living under a rock, so I've seen lots and lots of new announcements. We have the D5 announced, we have the Canon 1D X Mark II announced, we have the D500 announced, and Sony even has some new announcements as well with some new E-mount lenses and with their new A6300 camera. So lots and lots of things. Now, I will admit, I knew that the D5 was coming. This is not the type of camera that I'm terribly excited about, honestly. As you guys know, I am not a sports type photographer. I don't really shoot anything very fast. And really, as long as the camera can give me 4 or 5 pictures a second, heck, even if it could only do 3 frames a second, that would suffice for me. But for people that do like to do action photography, sports, and that sort of thing, the D5 is certainly going to be your camera. It is a 12 frame per second burst rate at its maximum, which is pretty cool. 20 megapixels. It now offers 4K video, so it's the first Nikon DSLR that can do 4K, so pretty cool in that regard. Now, obviously, I am going to have this camera in my hands for testing. As a matter of fact, hopefully next week I will be able to bring you guys a short little video whenever I have the D5 in my hands. Now, the thing that really surprised me though about Nikon's announcement is that they announced a D500. And this is not something that I was expecting to see at all. I literally was just like, whenever I saw the D500 come across my screen. Yeah, I mean, to have a pro level crop sensor camera is not something that I expected to see at all. Now, not long ago, I said that I would never ever own another crop sensor camera, and yeah, that really hasn't changed at all. But I am very excited that Nikon has come out with a pro level crop sensor camera, mostly so people can stop whining about the D300 replacement, because frankly, I've gotten sick of hearing that over the years, so thank God we won't hear anything else about that anymore because now we have a D500. But all jokes aside, though, I do think it is a good thing that Nikon decided to come out with this camera because, you know, let's face it. I mean, there's lots of people that do action photography and like birds in flight and things like that, and they want to be able to have a very fast frame rate, but they don't necessarily want to spend $6,000 or $6,500 or however much for a camera body that can give them the ability to shoot very fast. And even though cameras like the D7200 are very nice in that regard, the 7200 improved a lot over the 7100 in terms of shooting action, but it is still not ideal. So I get it. I mean, I get why people would want that camera. The Canon 7D Mark II has been available for quite some time now. Of course, Nikon being Nikon, they were not in a very big hurry to jump out there and immediately come out with a answer to the 7D Mark II. But it is very nice that the D500 now exists. So it kind of reminds me of the days of the D3 and the D300. You know, Nikon announced both those cameras at the exact same time. And so that's basically what we see with the D5 and the D500. So very interesting camera. You know, we get the same focus system that the D5 has in the D500, and it's just an obscene amount of points. Let's see here. How many points is it? I mean, we've gone from like 51 points up to this now. So we now have 153 autofocus points. Now, that is a lot of points. A lot of the specs on the D5 kind of leaked out before the camera was actually announced. How Nikon managed to keep the D500 such a closely guarded secret, I have no idea, but somehow they managed to keep it totally hidden from everyone. But the D500 gets this focus system as well. Now, not all of these points are user selectable. There's 153 points. There are 99 of those points are now cross-type. So that's, I mean, this camera has more cross-type points than the D4, D4S had points in total. So that's a big deal. Now, not all 153 points are user selectable. I'm not surprised by that at all. That'd be a tremendous amount of focus points to go through manually. But there seems to be kind of an overlaid sort of function to these focus points. So basically, you have kind of a larger point and then like a smaller, more sensitive point in the same space kind of deal. And really, I'm purposely not reading a whole lot of in-depth articles about these cameras right now, because really I don't want my brain to get all swimming in all these different specs. I would much rather see how these cameras actually feel in my hands and how they work. And cross fingers, I'm going to get a chance to do that next week and actually make another video about that. But anyways, looks very, very impressive on paper so far. 153 points. We can focus, let's see here. At F8, we have 15 points available to us, and 9 of those are user selectable at F8. So still very, very impressive. Now, with the Canon 1DX, this camera looks very, very impressive as well, obviously. Nikon definitely is not, their strength is not video. And the D5 versus the 1DX Mark II, that definitely proves that. Canon, they do have the ability now to do 4K as well in their 1DX Mark II. The 1DX Mark II, though, can do 4K video at up to 60 frames per second, and the D5 is designed to do 4K video up to 30 frames a second. The 1DX Mark II can also do 1080 at 120 frames versus the 60 frames per second on the Nikon. So definitely Canon has come back to assert their dominance in the video arena, and to that I say it's about time, because yeah, it seems like everything can do 4K video. Now, I'm not, aside from making these videos for you guys, I'm not a really big video user. In my opinion, if you really need high-end video capabilities, I feel like there's still other cameras that do a much better job at that. But it is awesome to see Canon assert their dominance in that video area once again. The Canon has built-in GPS, so yeah, so if you like to do that sort of thing, that's nice. Also, no built-in GPS on the Nikon, and let's see here, what else is going on here? Yeah, as I said, guys, obviously I like seeing all the new camera releases. I personally am waiting on like a D810 replacement. I want to see that new focusing system built in to a camera that has much higher resolution, more akin to a D800, D810. So yeah, I'm not the most excited about the cameras in this range, but obviously, I mean, big camera announcement, flagship models coming out. I mean, I have to talk about it. I mean, I am still a photo geek, so. Now, one thing that's interesting on this new D5 is that Nikon actually decided to give us 2 choices on memory cards, because a lot of people complain on the D4 and the D4S about the cameras using 2 different types of cards. People complain, I hate having XQD cards and compact flash cards. So in this camera, they did something that I was not expecting at all. They give us the camera in 2 different flavors. You can get it with 2 compact flash cards, which I have no idea why you do that. It is 2016. If you're buying the latest and greatest camera that can do up to 12 frames a second and all that, why would you use the older, slower cards? That makes no sense. If you're spending $6,500 on a camera body and you can't buy a couple of new cards to go with it, I think you're an idiot, quite frankly. I mean, I have no better way of saying that. Yeah, I mean, that's stupid. That's like buying a Porsche and then buying like cheap tires to go on it from Bob's Used Tire World or something. That's just retarded. But anyways, if you feel like you have to hold on to the older card technology, then yeah, Nikon still appeals to you fuddy-duddies, and they still give you the ability to do old school compact flash cards. Otherwise, you can actually get your D5 with XQD cards, which will actually be able to give you a high amount of data throughput, which will be able to keep up with the high burst rate, and it will be able to keep up with things like 4K video and that sort of thing. Now, Canon, they're using this CFast format as opposed to XQD, which it's kind of interesting, you know. It's kind of like, VHS and Betamax, or HD DVD and Blu-ray discs in the, modern-ish age. It'll be interesting to see which of these formats wins out in the long run. Either way, the point is, compact flash's time has come and gone. On this newer Nikon D500, it uses a SD card slot and it uses an XQD card slot. So, you have the ability to do either of those there. And of course, these days SD cards, the fastest SD cards are actually faster than the fastest compact flash cards. So once again, another nail in the coffin that is compact flash. I mean, anyways, whatever. It'll be gone soon enough. So what else do we have here? We have some insane ISO range. We have a native ISO range. Let me see here. That's in video. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, this is going to be very, very interesting. Because I'm kind of a strobist type photographer, I usually don't shoot at extremely high ISO. Now, in wedding situations and things like that, being able to get very good shots at 6400 ISO and higher can certainly be a good thing. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. Let's see here. Oh, that's fascinating. They give us a battery rating for our HD footage now. That's cool. So it says up to 110 minutes of HD footage, 3,780 shots in terms of battery life, in terms of still photographs. Very nice there. Let's see here, though. We're looking for ISO range, though, aren't we? Okay, so here we are. ISO 100 to 102,400 natively. And then we have some boost ISO options there. We have an expanded range that lets us go down to 50 ISO all the way up to ISO 3,280,000. That is absolutely obscene. It'll be interesting to see if next week I get a camera in my hands that has its memory cards all tape shut and I can't take sample photos, but I suppose we'll find out next week. If we have a camera that I can put a card in and take some photos, you can certainly believe I'll be posting some samples. So we'll see how that goes. Now, we know that we're not going to be using ISO 3 million, probably, but if it has such a broad range in terms of its ISO, I would imagine that at ISO 12,800, ISO 25,600, I believe, yeah, 25,600, in more sane ranges like that, I expect to see very, very good quality images. So this should be very, very exciting. The Canon ISO range isn't quite as broad as what we have in the Nikon, but once again, I'm not so hung up on these numbers. I want to get the cameras in my hands and go out and start shooting. And of course, whenever I get a chance to do that, we will obviously be talking about it. So yeah, so all in all, very, very good. Let's see, the Canon does up to, I believe it is 14 frames a second or something crazy like that. It's just unfathomable how fast these cameras can shoot. So, I don't know. We'll have to see how this goes in another video. And I was going to talk about Sony a little bit in this video, but this video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to save the Sony stuff for another video. Let me know in the comments below. Tell me if you're planning on pre-ordering any of these new cameras. I'm very, very curious to know about it. And let me know what your thoughts are. Also, as always, I want to know what you guys think about me testing these cameras. What should I do to test these? I'm not an action photographer, but I'll have to come up with something unique to test out the action capabilities. Write me in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, this is Jeremy Smith, signing off.